Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi everybody. We'll start in a couple of minutes, inshallah. Just bear with us while we just allow some more people to join, inshallah. So a couple of minutes and we'll make a start. Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Once again, Jazakallah khair to all the brothers and sisters who've joined another of our weekly or bi-weekly webinars. As you know, the theme that we're running for this week is on getting ready without overthinking. I think it's an important theme, and at this stage, I hope everyone is, so trying to make all their preparations and get all their ducks in a line. But yeah, the theme really is to do that without getting too stressed and without overthinking. So, in line with that theme, today we're going to be talking about packing, things that you may need to buy and things that you should take with you. And that's going to be delivered by two of our group leaders today. So we have with us Dr. Imran, who I think you've met both of our contributors today. So Dr. Imran, who's the group leader for the B3400, and we have Brother Harun, who's going to be the group leader for the B3900, and Dr. Imran is going to be in Majr al-Kabsh, and Brother Harun is going to be in Muaisim. So I'm going to hand you over to them shortly, but before I do that, just a couple of quick points that I wanted to make. First of all, you would all have received an email inviting you to register for the in-person seminar that's going to take place in London on the 3rd of May. Looking at the responses, I think only about half of the people have registered so far, and we do really want all of you to come. It's really important, I think, that you attend. I think you'll find this session really useful. It'll give you an opportunity to meet the other people that you're traveling with and also the guides. Um, you'll be able to meet them in person, and there will be opportunity to ask questions. So please do your very best, and each person has to register themselves. So every single person, if there's two of you or three of you, each of you have to register yourselves, and you'll get a QR code by email, and that QR code will allow you to allow you admission on the day, inshallah. I'm just going to share my screen. Just bear with me a second. So I'm just going to share my screen, and what you can do is just scan the QR code. So if you haven't already registered, you can scan the code. I assume you can see the
Yeah,
Ismail.
yeah,
Can you see it?
I see
Yeah.
your screen. Yeah.
So if you just scan that code, inshallah, it'll take you straight to the registration portal, and it's a very quick process. It'll just take you like a few seconds to register. So if you've already done it, you don't need to do it again. But if you haven't, please take out your phones, scan this code, and register for the seminar. we will post this, or we'll post a link, inshallah, on the groups as well. Do remember that this is strictly for people who've booked a package. It's not for anybody else, so don't share it with other people. And make sure you do this as soon as possible, inshallah. A couple of other points that I just wanted to mention quickly before we start. Unfortunately, the session we had on Monday wasn't recorded, but we will share some of the points that were discussed, just for everyone's benefit. Today's one is being recorded, and inshallah we'll share the recording once it's ready. A common question we're getting repeatedly is regarding the flights on the B3400 for the Manchester group, who doesn't have an onward domestic flight from Jeddah to Medina at the moment. The situation hasn't changed, and the information is still the same, that Al-Bayt guests are working on it, and they're working on trying to get a domestic flight. Failing that, it will be a train. Failing that, it will be by bus. So we can only update you once there's been any movement on it, and I don't expect anything to happen in the next few weeks. As soon as we get an update, inshallah, we will definitely let you know. I think that's it for now. Just one more point in relation to these webinars. We will be covering some of the, so the more predictable topics that you're expecting in terms of how to do Umrah, how to do Hajj, going through the actual Hajj days in the coming weeks. So that is going to happen. But I think the topics we're covering at the moment are important in the sense that they'll help you with your preparation. Those topics maybe are not so urgent at this point, but we will be dealing with all of them, inshallah, in the coming weeks. I'm going to hand you over to the brothers, inshallah, now, who are going to talk about what you need to be buying and your packing. And then, inshallah, we'll have an opportunity for questions at the end. I'll try and come back to join, inshallah, if possible. Otherwise, inshallah, I leave you in the capable hands of Imran and Harun. Over to you, brothers. Jazakallah khair. You're both on mute, by the way.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It's a pleasure to be here this evening again. And we pray your preparations are going well. And we want to continue really the theme that was started on Monday, and of getting ready without overthinking. So a lot of these themes, as we mentioned on the Wednesday, will cover the practical elements. So you'll see a lot of pictures and images in this webinar this evening, inshallah, and we'll have plenty of opportunity for questions as well. So we're going to be going through 5 main items. So the first one is a recap of the timeline that we went through, the suggested timeline that we went through last week. The second part will be related to the reflective journal. If you joined us last Wednesday, the topic was covering how to be reflective and how to treat the Hajj as a reflective journey. And the last 3 items will be covering your travel tips and related to health, and how you intend to pack before you leave, and how you intend to pack firstly before you leave London or Manchester, or whichever city you're leaving from, and then how to pack before you leave for Hajj. So just to recap, on the timeline itself, and what we've done is we've kind of rag-rated these so that to give you an indication of where you should be by now in terms of your general preparation, in terms of the practical things, right? So if you remember, I said that it's really worth having a reflective journal, whether that's on your phone or something that you kind of handwrite in a diary, of your journey itself, in terms of, your thoughts and your feelings and your reflections about maybe ayat of Quran that you're going through, or maybe a hadith, or in your reading for Hajj generally. So that's really, I hope that some of you have started that, if not all of you. The vaccine, we've said that by the 4th of April, which was a couple of days ago, you should have all got your vaccinations done. And if you haven't, don't panic. There's plenty of opportunity to do that. And hopefully you've joined a walking group, or you started walking yourself and getting those steps in. You've also done your biometrics, inshallah. And at this stage, coming up to the mid-April, what we want you to do is to pack your essentials and to make sure that you've got the basic things that you need for Hajj, and that's what we're going to go through today. That you've got them in place and that you're prepared at least a month in advance of travel, so that there's nothing that you miss, inshallah. Um, so going forward, really, what we're saying is that by the 20th, you want to be have completed your Hajj shopping itself, attended the Hajj seminar in person, inshallah, on the 3rd of May, as Brother Naeem just mentioned. Looking to meet your family and friends maybe a week before travel, and by mid-May, really being flight ready and ready to depart for Hajj, inshallah. We will answer questions about well, maybe in the halfway point of this presentation. So if you have got any questions, do post them up in the chat box, and we will certainly kind of aim to answer all of your questions, inshallah, related to this topic. So just in terms of reflective journal, so I often start doing this myself. And I find it really helpful at this stage to just look at a few things every week and just to think about the Hajj itself in perspective. So in the last webinar that we had on Monday, it's good to see a lot of people are thinking about their Hajj, and some people are anxious, others are kind of, not sure what to make of it. And this is all from the process, the psychological and emotional process of preparing for Hajj itself. And really, the ayat which stands out for me is in Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and take provisions, but indeed the best provision is fear of Allah. And really, if you think about it, anything can happen during the Hajj, before, during, and even after the Hajj. So what Allah really is asking you to do is, or rather, He's looking how you will react to the circumstances which He puts you into. So, sometimes the coach could be late. Possibly your luggage may go missing. I'm not trying to scare you, but things like that happen. Perhaps you're in a queue and somebody pushes in. Perhaps you're trying to do your tawaf in peace and someone rushes past you. Um, and perhaps somebody tests you in a way that you never thought about. So what Allah is looking for really is fear of Him in those matters, and to ensure that really you're taking this seriously from a psychological point of view and an emotional point of view. So the preparations themselves are quite easy, to be honest with you. The physical preparations, the majority of people can do those. It's about the psychological and the emotional state that you're in when Allah does test you, because we will be tested as guides, as people that are attending Hajj. At some stage, Allah will test you, and then it's for you to remember this ayat and really to fear Allah in your actions and even your thoughts. And just to remember that when you're throughout this process, inshallah. And something that I heard at a class last weekend, and it really kind of stuck with me, was a saying of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, regarding a dua that he made. And the dua was that he asked Allah to have mercy on the person who shows him his faults. Now, at this stage, when we're reflecting why we're on Hajj, and some people can't quite believe they're on Hajj, or others are preparing maybe to ask for forgiveness from perhaps family and friends that they may have offended. It really is important that we are very honest about our strengths and our weaknesses, and we understand where we're going wrong, because ultimately we're going to be asking Allah to forgive us. So really, it's really important that we have a sense of awareness of the impact of our behavior on other people, and the impact on our behavior on our own self as well. So this dua itself is something which I think is a very humbling dua, and it's something we should remember that, at times, excuse me, during this journey, people may pull us up and say, hold on, that wasn't right what you did, or perhaps correct us, or perhaps give us a different opinion. And it's at that stage where we need to remember that we need to fear Allah, but at the same time, we need to be humble enough to accept our mistakes, inshallah. And another thing which I normally do, whether I go for Umrah or Hajj, and is at that stage when you're getting yourself into your ihram clothing, it's a very emotional moment. So the best way I can describe it is that, subhanAllah, Allah has perfected his deen to the extent that He's even prepared us for our own death. So when somebody dies, it's customary to make ghusl on them and then to uh, cover them in two pieces of clothing. And the ihram really, that process of putting your ihram clothing on, Allah is giving you an opportunity to reflect on your death. And it really is quite um, emotional at that time when you do it. If you haven't done it before, or if you're doing it for a second or a third or a fifth time, that process itself is very humbling. That Allah is giving you that opportunity to wash yourself, to put some basic clothing on, uh, and if you were to pass away, you'd already be in the clothing that you're supposed to be at the time of death. So it really is a humbling time, and you'll find that when you put your ihram clothing on in Medina, it's a very emotional time in the sense that you'll think about family, you'll think about your mother, your father, your children, your brothers, your sisters, your friends. You'll think about people perhaps that have passed away. Think about the people around you who are dressed in the identical clothing, and you'll make dua for them. And we pray that you make dua for each other. So that process in itself, Allah is spiritually preparing you through that process that at some stage in life, death is certain, right? Not just kind of be somber about it, but to embrace it and to understand that Allah is taking you through a process. And then we get to the actual plains of Arafat. In a way, it's also a dress rehearsal for the Day of Judgment. And the Shaykh will tell you this in subsequent seminars and webinars that it really is a dress rehearsal for the Day of Judgment. So if we take it in that context, then the preparation itself, we've said not to overthink things, but the things that you need to overthink or to rather to reflect upon are these spiritual aspects and the actual significance of the actions that you're taking, inshallah. So with that said, I'm going to move on to the fun part in terms of the travel packing tips, inshallah. And I'm going to introduce Dr. Imran shortly because he's, mashallah, a veteran traveler. And whether it's for Hajj or for Umrah or otherwise, mashallah, he's very experienced. And I will introduce him very shortly. But I wanted to give you some basic tips in terms of travel packing for Hajj itself. So, alhamdulillah, between our team, we've got a lot of experience in doing this. And there's 5 points. And I met with Dr. Imran over the weekend, and we went through, to cover and to keep things simple, but at the same time to be realistic about what you should do. So the first thing that we suggest is that you pack for the duration of your trip, or possibly a little less. So what we don't want people to do is to overpack. So whether you're on a 2 week package, whether it's a 15-day package or an 11-day package, we want you to be realistic in terms of the fact that you're going to be in your ihram clothing for a good part of 2, 3 days. And if you take that away from the actual package that you're on, then you need to work out really the number of days that you will need clothing for and possibly spare clothing. And also remember that there's not a shortage of clothing in Makkah and Medina. So you could also potentially, and this is what some of the guides do, is they'll take half of their clothing and then they'll aim to buy some new clothing so that, on the day of Jummah or perhaps on a day that outside of the days of Hajj, they wear new clothing to the Makkah. So that's also a good idea. The second thing we'd ask you to do, and I often do this as well, is to divide, excuse me, your luggage into two parts. So the first part is really your main luggage, which you may check in. So that may have your additional clothing and other items that you may not use straight away. But the second part is like your hand luggage. And what we suggest you do is in your hand luggage, have maybe 5 or 6 days worth of clothing, just in case, and I'm not scaring you, just in case something happens to your luggage. And 99.9% of the time, most people, there's no issues with the luggage, inshallah. But just in case something happens to your luggage, you haven't left yourself short. So your basic essentials and clothing for maybe 4 or 5 days, you keep with you, and the rest you pack in your main luggage, inshallah. And know that in Makkah and Medina, there's lots of shopping malls around the hotels where you can buy anything and everything, inshallah. So there's no fear in terms of losing your luggage and it doesn't come back. Then you can certainly buy items to replace what you've lost. And I remember a few years ago we were with Sheikh Tawfiq, who actually lost all of his luggage, subhanAllah. And he said, okay, take me to the market. He brought his clothes, he brought his undergarments, and he brought everything that he needed for the trip. So, mashallah, he demonstrated really what how to react really in a situation when you do lose your luggage. Keep, excuse me, keep your essential items with you and accessible. So if you've got medication, you've got valuables, your passport, and your key documents, you really should have them on you, inshallah. Include a small man or woman bag and a backpack as well. So you've got something that you can use maybe when you need to go to the masjid or in the days of Mina. When you're on the move, you've got a small bag you can keep with you that's light and easy to move around, inshallah. And remember, the weather is going to be hot. So we've had a taste of warm weather. I wouldn't say it's hot weather today, but depending on where you are in the UK, we've had a taste of the warm weather. This is kind of like the temperature that you'd find Makkah or Medina maybe in the morning or mid-morning. And then it's going to be kind of mid-30s, mid to late 30s, generally the temperature. So select clothing where perhaps is breathable, clothing which you won't sweat as much in and kind of absorbs, or rather it doesn't absorb the heat, but rather releases heat from your body, inshallah. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Imran now, who's our veteran doctor during the Hajj, and as I mentioned, and experienced in many things related to not just packing, but also, mashallah, an asset to the team in terms of the medical advice that he gives and the care that he shows with Judge. So I'm going to pass over to Dr. Imran for this section, and we're going to make it a bit interactive. So, Doc, I'm going to pass it over to you now, inshallah.
جزاكم الله خير. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu ala rasulillah. First of all, thank you for joining us on this webinar. And I really look forward to seeing each and every one of you. When I was asked a couple of days ago, could I talk about what I take for Hajj, Umrah, and so on and so forth? And I thought to myself, you know what? I could give a long list. And the first thing I did was I went on TikTok. And I thought, let me see if I can type in something on TikTok. And there were so many small videos. And then I did an AI search. And there's so many lists that came up. I thought I could just give a list and that would be the easiest thing. But to me, that didn't seem quite practical. So what I am going to share with you is what I actually do and what I actually take with me. And just to let you know that this, the bag that I've got there, I've actually got it here. And this is a bag that I take with me. And I'm going to just show you that I actually take the second pencil case with me. And so everything that you've got there, I actually carry with me. Or I make sure I take to Saudi, this one here. And I've also got this bag over here as well, which I'm just going to show you here. So these are 4 essential bags. And every time I go to Saudi or Umrah, I have a big Tupperware box. I take things out and then I replenish. I put them back and go back in there. So just in the next couple of minutes or so, what I'd like everyone to do, please, is to write in the chat, what do you think I've got in these bags? And really, I'm just going to hold off. So please, just type away what you think I carry in these bags. And this is my own personal bags. These are bags that I take. So I've got, and just keep it as, try and be as general or specific as you like. So I've got a couple of things.
Medicine, footwear,
I'll read
sunscreen,
them out. Oh, wow.
toiletries, shoes.
I love that one. There's one there. I want to come back to that one. This fantastic.
Water bottle.
Okay. So we've got, I mean, oh God, there's medicine, slippers, shoes, water bottle, ID, small dua book, first aid, bottle, fan, phones, a nusuk card, wallet, cooling towel, medicines. Boy, fantastic. Sunglasses, Savlon, I like that one. Documents, passport.
Doc, how do you fit so many things into your bag? That's a lot
Well,
of
this
things
I
to
want
fit
to
those
demonstrate
bags.
this actually. I like that one. Electrolytes, chafing cream, first aid stuff. Haroon, I feel I'm getting a bit redundant here, you know, because all the answers are in the chat. So maybe we could just take the chat and post it. What do you reckon?
I think so. We'll come up with a checklist, mashallah.
Come with the chat, subhanallah. iPhone. I'm a Samsung user myself, but anyway, iPhone.
I'm with a phone.
It looks like power bank. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask everyone to stop there. Otherwise, this list will become endless. And I'm going to start with one thing. And I'm going to demonstrate this. I won't ask what this is, but this is a tracker. This is this equivalent of either a Samsung tracker, or some people have AirTags. I like trackers. And one of the things that I travel is I put this in my main luggage. And the reason I say this, it gives me reassurance that my bag has actually arrived. I'm not saying everyone go and buy one, but this is one thing that people haven't mentioned in there. I think having trackers is a really good idea. When we pack the bags and we do the movement of bags from one area to another, for example, from Medina to Makkah, I get reassurance knowing that the tracker is showing that the luggage has arrived. Fantastic, someone puts tracker. So that's not in there. So I'll ask you to stop there. And then what I'm going to do is actually just demonstrate this one here. This is what I call my electrical bag. This is my electrical bag. And I'm going to open it up and I'm going to go through everything in here. Let's have a look in there. One thing that no one mentioned is a set of headphones. So I believe every one of you should have a set of, if you've not got Bluetooth, but at least have a set of headphones, because one of the things that we'll be using a lot of is Telegram and using that as a means of communication, especially when we do talks and we're going on ziyarah trips together. So please remember a set of headphones. The next thing that's in this bag, which has got electrical items in it, is a power bank. And this power bank, I think, should be at least 10,000 milliamps. Anything less than that will not power an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone or anything like that. So I'm just taking it out of this actual bag. It's the actual bag I'm taking. I've got one of these, and I've got one of these. This is a fantastic gadget which I bought from Temu. And what this does, it has can use this. It can open up to give you that type of socket if that one doesn't work. It can give you that type of plug. If that one doesn't work, it can give you that type of plug. If that's not necessary, it can give you that type of plug. And on the end, hopefully you can see it there. It's got USB and USB-C chargers. It's got all, so you just need to take one of these. They're about £4 or £5 from Temu. I think this was less than £5. The next thing in this electrical bag I've got with me, so this is all my electrical goodies I take with me. I have this little pack here, and in this pack I have a selection of cables. So this is all the electrical gadgets I take. So I'm going to put that all away so you can see, and I think each and every one of you should consider taking one of these with you, and it fits neatly in there. So that's my electrical bag, and as you can see, I've just put that away. Now the next one I'm going to go through is what I call my this is a pencil case, as you can all see. And this pencil case, I'm going to open things up one by one so you can see how we can fit this in there. And I'm just going to take out the first item. This item is a small roll-on. Now this roll-on has got a name. It's called Body Glide. One of the things that a lot of people have the potential to suffer from is chafing of the skin. Now, in the past, I've seen people use Vaseline. The thing with Vaseline is very gooey. This is water-based, and you can just open it up, lose it like that, and it comes on rather like a roll-on, and it's very small. It comes in 2 separate sizes. So I would consider taking this. It's about £5. It's really easy to use, and it doesn't stick on your fingers. So that's in this bag, which I call my medicine bag. I would advise each and every one of you to take some paracetamol strips, which I have there as well. I would ask that you also take some ibuprofen. So paracetamol, ibuprofen is an absolute must. And one of the things that I've been doing, and this was a bit of advice given to me probably about 15 years ago. Consider taking 2 paracetamol before you start your tawaf or your sa'i. I really just take the edge, especially if you've got a niggly pain that's about to develop. So I take that with me. I also take one of these sachets, a couple of these sachets. Now, these were bought from Aldi. This has got phenylephrine in it. It's got lemon in it. It's got paracetamol. Obviously, don't take the two together, but this is really useful with hot water. It really, if you've got a flu, will make you feel a lot better. And I think a box of these is about £3 or £4. I also take with me some lozenges. You can buy all of these things there, but most people will have this in their drugs cabinet at home or lying around. So I take these with me as well. The other thing which I tend to take with me is something which is some senna tablets. It's not uncommon for people to get constipated in Saudi Arabia because of all the type of foods that we have there, and people don't drink enough. So I take senna with me. Also, the flip side is that there is also in Saudi Arabia the lack of availability of something called loperamide. Now, loperamide is, if you happen to get loose motion, you cannot get loperamide in Saudi Arabia. So I take a strip of loperamide. Again, this is all bought from Aldi. There's nothing here that you can't buy from Aldi. So I've got that in there. So I take that with me. Also within this medical bag, I have with me some plasters. Now, there's so many plasters you can take, but I prefer the ones which have got the comfy gels on them. And these ones in here, they're like that. They're very good for blisters. So you can get blister plasters and things like that. So I take those with me. And they go in there. So I have that with me there. So this is all coming from the pencil case. I'm also I like heat pads. I like heat pads which can be purchased. And these heat pads, again, once I think I bought these from Poundland or from Aldi. They were about £2. They work really well, especially if you suffer from lower back pain, which is not uncommon. So you can put these on there and they last about 8 to 10 hours. And you attach these to the inside of your clothing and it works wonders. So I take that with me. Now, I also have with me in this bag some antihistamines. So if you have any allergic reactions or you tend to get some skin reactions, you can get antihistamines. There's plenty of these available, once again, in Aldi. You can buy cetirizine, you can buy loratadine, you can buy even fexofenadine. These are all available without prescription, so you can take those with you. And I tend not to take the whole packet, so just tend to take the strips with me. Now, there's 2 other things which I would ask that you consider taking. Oral rehydration supplements. Now, there's 2 I've got here. I'm just going to show you the other one. There's these 2. Doesn't really make a difference which ones you get, but they're freely available in many shops. This one, I think, has got blackcurrant flavor soluble tablets. This has got sugar in it. And this Vimto one is without sugar. This Vimto one, I think I bought from Superdrug, and this one I bought from Boots. They're about £4 or £5.99 each. And then the other thing which I tend to pack in there is a pair of scissors, which is useful to cut the plasters that you may have, and also for the hair. And then if you can, and this is an if you can, and if you've got a course of antibiotics. Now, this is not absolutely necessary, but if you've got a course of antibiotics, take them with you, because you can get antibiotics in Saudi Arabia, but you can't walk into a pharmacy and just ask for them. Those days have gone. So you really need a doctor's prescription. If not, the pharmacist will actually ask you to have a video consult with the doctor, and they can prescribe you some antibiotics. You can take them with you. So all of this goes in this pencil case, which I've just emptied out, and now the pencil case is empty. So I believe that they're the pretty much essential items, and I take them with me to Saudi. And the last one I take is this. This was 79 pence, I believe, from Aldi once again, sugar tablets. So these are dextrose energy. They're just glucose tablets. If you're really feeling down, take one of these and you'll get a good energy burst. So that's in the second bag. Now, I hope everyone's still with me at the moment. going to, and people have said, can I give a list of these? Inshallah, we will provide a list. Okay. Someone will answer some of the questions a bit. Is the glide roll-on suitable when in the state of ihram? I'll answer that question. This is water-based. It's water-based. It's not gooey, so like Vaseline, which you have to wipe off. And you'll be using this in the areas like the groin and between the legs and so on and so forth. So that's there. Now, this is my man bag. Now, this is just out of personal choice. I prefer this. In the past, I have used a waist bag like this. So there's that one there. Now I'm going to open this man bag and just to go through it with you. So everything is in there. And this is a small notepad. This is a small notepad. And Haroon, I'm not sure whether you have something similar like this, but I know that this notepad has been with me, believe it or not, since 2005, I believe. I think it was 2005. And this notepad has two sections. The first section is regrets, and the second section is a wish list. And I remember 20 years ago, and I will share this with everyone, 20 years ago when I was over 20 years ago now, when I performed my first Hajj, I sat down and I wanted to write down, without sharing with anybody, all the regrets, all the things that I wish I hadn't done in life. Because when I was going to be standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Arafah, raising my hands, asking for dua and asking for forgiveness, I'm sure that memory was going to fail me. And as the years have gone on, unfortunately, the reality is we all do things that we wish we hadn't done, and this regret list is still there. And I keep on adding to this. I wish I wasn't, but I'm just sharing some honest truths with you. It's a regret list, and next to that is a wish list. And that wish list has something, has one column which says me, myself, and I. It's what I want for myself. It's a bit like my own reflective journal. So when I'm in the state of ihram, when I'm in the days of Mina, this is with me, and it's a wish list, not just for me, myself, and I, then it's for friends and family, and then it's for others. So really, I think this is a really important, something which is important to me, and everyone can decide themselves how they want to do it. You may wish to have a wish list on your phone, please, however you wish to do so. The second thing I have in this is what I believe is really useful, is Fortress of a Muslim. And if I share this again with you, when my daughter was about, she's old, well, she's older now, she's in her 20s now, but many years ago, I asked her to buy me a present for Eid. And I said, you can only spend £5 and it can't be anything more than £5. So she thought really long and hard. And I think the price is there. I think she paid £3 for it. She gave this to me as a gift. And so I carry this with me, Fortress of a Muslim, because it's a gift from her to me. And I keep on using it and reminding myself, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it's really, 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 really beneficial. So please, if you haven't got one, I would encourage you to buy one. So that's in this man bag. And I carry this man bag with me when I'm performing Umrah. I also have some post-it stickers in here. And the post-it stickers is for me to remind myself of something. If I can't put it in my phone, just to give myself, because it's not always easy to write things down. In this man bag, I also carry a permanent marker as well as a normal pen. Now, why a permanent marker? But I think the permanent marker is really useful for when you want to identify your bag or your luggage or your item, just to put your name on this, because everything looks quite similar. So put your surname on it and so on and so forth. Also very good if when you are returning, you can write your name on the Zamzam if you purchase it at the airport. So that's one section of this man bag. In the man bag, I will also carry with me on the days of, whenever I'm performing Umrah, a book. There's so many of these books around. There's so many of these. This was gifted to me by a very good friend of mine. And it was got prime invocations and from the Quran and the Sunnah. And it's got lots of beautiful du'as and supplications. And I think it's really useful because when we're in Arafah, it's a long time, 5-6 hours to hold your hands in supplication, to have some reminders as to what you do. You can read Quran, you can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, you can ask for whatever you like, and sometimes you just want to do lots of dhikr. So I carry this with me as well. Also, I carry with me in my bag a power bank. This is a slightly bigger power bank. This power bank I use for Mina. And the reason it's a bigger power bank, this is, I think, 20,000. It's an Anchor one. It's a bit more expensive, but it will allow at least 2 or 3 charges. But if you have the smaller one, that's absolutely fine. And with it is a cable. So this is the bag that I actually wear around me like this. And inshallah, for those of you that are, inshallah, you know, you'll see me, I'll be wearing the bag like this. It'll be there like this. So I carry this with me. I used to wear a waist bag, but I just find this more comfortable now. And again, I think I paid £8.99. I got this from Sports Direct, but there's so many of these around. It's adjustable, so a man bag like this is extremely useful. I'm now going to come on to, I think we've gone through 3 bags at the moment. So I'm now going to come on to this big bag over here. This bag carries in it some important things. And I'm glad now, one of the things that I think is really useful, and especially for the ladies, because unlike the brothers who are wearing ihram and our head is uncovered, and we can wear light thobes, is a mini fan. This was my wife. She bought this one. She's got a selection of mini fans. That they are chargeable and they work wonders. They really, really, really are good. You can get ones that actually have a water dispenser. I actually saw one in the works. It costs £3, but I believe you can get some good ones in Saudi for about the equivalent of £5. So I think a fan you should take with you wherever you are. So I'll take that out, put that there. So this is my bag. I'm just going to empty it out. I am a firm believer in hats. This is my wife's hat. My wife wears a big hat whenever she goes on Umrah like this. I won't be wearing this particular hat, but wide brimmed hats are extremely useful. So please consider wide brim because it's likely to get very, very, very hot out there. So that's the wide brimmed hat, which I have in here. In this bag also, I have, which you should consider, an umbrella, a reflective umbrella. So it's really good when we go on the ziyarah trips. But if you don't wish to take it with you, you can take it, you can buy one there. So this is, that goes with us or when I'm with my wife. Also, this is, I wore this one, Hajj, I will tell you, this was this hat. So I wore that. And so that was like that. I mean, my wife said I made me look like an Australian, but anyway, I took that with me. So this was my hat. Or you can wear a kufi, but please consider having a hat with you at all times. And then I've also got this, I think it's really important that you have some sunglasses because it's like to be very, very, very hot out there. So if you've got prescription glasses, take them. If you've got normal sunglasses, take them. Or if you can get a little clip-on, you can put little clip-ons over here. It's really good because the sun will reflect off the marble flooring. And in the same spectacle case, I also have a spare pair of spectacles. I put those in there. So this goes in this bag, which I'm just going to empty out. And then I do actually, someone mentioned it, I do have a spare pair of sandals. I actually bought these last year because the sandals I took with me, funnily enough, I'd been wearing them for some time. I thought they were comfortable, but they just became really uncomfortable for some reason. So I bought these and these were actually very good, very comfortable. So I do take a spare pair of sandals with me just because you know, I think it's really useful. So those 4 bags are my go-to bags. Now, I'm by all means not saying, please don't anyone get me wrong, that we should only take what I've mentioned, but I thought I would just share what I actually take. And every time I go Hajj, every time I go Umrah, I have these small bags with me. I have them already prepared and I take them with me. And so Haroon, what about yourself? I mean, just whilst I've got you there, Haroon, have you got any gems that you'd like to share?
Assalamu alaikum, mashallah, that was very comprehensive, Dr. Imran. And just looking at some of the comments as well, mashallah. So there's one question, specific one, which I think does confuse people, umbrellas versus hats. So I think obviously during the state of ihram, you cannot wear a hat. You've got to have an umbrella, right? So during the days when you're in ihram, you need to be wary of obviously the ihram conditions. And
If you happen to be of a certain gender, then you can have your head covered. So that's for the
yeah,
females.
that's right. Yes,
So obviously not for the brothers.
that's right. Yes. So I just thought just mention that so that there's clarity. And so the females do have um, some concessions which are helpful, especially the clothing. Obviously, the brothers, mashallah, they have the ihram clothing, which isn't the most comfortable for many people. But I think the sisters have some concessions which are helpful, and rightly so, alhamdulillah. So, Dr. Imran, so what I've done here is those four kind of cases and bags that you presented. We've got this slide up that shows what normally happens when you leave for Mina. We make a Mina bag, right? So, and this is something which we received last year. I showed this last week and maybe a few weeks ago. Mashallah, Al-Bayt Guest last year provided Mina bags inside the Mina tent. So everyone got one of these kind of very executive looking bags, which had all of the most of the items which we presented today were inside those, right? So, so this is one thing that we kind of say to you is that do not overpack, but pack smart, as you've seen here, mashallah. Smart enough for you to kind of stay on the move, and there's some visuals as well that we wanted to share with you in terms of the do's and don'ts as well. So, Doc, I was thinking of the things that I've seen in the past with what Hujjaj have taken with them to Mina specifically, right? These large suitcases and massive bags of food and bedding and all of that stuff is not, none of it is needed really because the facilities in Mina are very good, mashallah. And whatever you pack, you've got to carry with you throughout the days of Hajj, right? So we kind of strongly recommend against taking these items specifically because taking them on the train or on the coach is very challenging, right? Especially in the heat, and it's not practical. And so some of the items which Dr. Imran has gone through, or the majority of them he's gone through, sunglasses, I think really important for the heat and for, being able to see where you're going, especially those that are on prescriptions, try and get prescription sunglasses.
Harun. Can I just
Yep.
a second?
Sure.
One thing I failed to take out of my bag here, and it's in the bottom. And
Yes.
I'm just going to ask the audience. There's one thing that I know from previous experience people take with them. And I'm not going to say the vast majority. I genuinely don't think it's necessary. But I'm just going to ask, and here's my challenge. If anyone gets this right, for the brothers, I'll buy them a coffee in Medina or Makkah, and you can hold me to it. So come and, if you get it, if you put it on there, you're going to get a coffee from me. If it's a sister that gets it right, then you know what? I'll give the money to one of the sister guides and tell them to buy you a coffee. So I'm going to give you 30 tea. No, it's not tea bags. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to see what you can come up with. And then, so it's in the bag at the moment, but I don't think it's necessary. Oh, God, blimey, hold on. You're going so fast.
Toilet paper. Pillow.
Everyone wants that coffee, Doctor.
Oh, subhanAllah, man. Listen, inshallah, it'll be a nice coffee.
Yeah.
Listen, Harun, tell me when I can stop because otherwise
Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes. I mean, it's just past 9:05 now, so we want to keep it within the hour, inshallah. So
I'm going to stop now. No more answers. I don't know whether I was happy that I didn't have to buy anyone a coffee. Somehow, I don't know, so far no one's got it.
Masala.
Listen. I'm going to have to put everyone out their misery now because, this is something which, now I'm not going to say to you, please don't carry this because I'm a bit of a pragmatic over this. If you genuinely feel that you need to take it, then okay. There's a simple rule: only pack and take what you can carry. And I will share this with you. I'll share another little story with you. 20 odd years ago, longer than 20 years ago, when I performed my first Hajj, I won't tell you how long that was actually. I was in Arafah, and in those days we used to walk from Arafah to Muzdalifah, Muzdalifah to Mina, so on, so on and so forth. And I had a rucksack with me, and I carried it. And then my wife was with me that year, and somehow her rucksack ended up with me as well. So I ended up carrying two rucksacks. And then my mother-in-law was with me as well. And lo and behold, I ended up having three bags with me. So there's me walking in towards Muzdalifah with three bags. And I cannot describe to you how painful that was. Obviously, at the time, I didn't say anything, I had to I carried it, but I did feel it. So please only carry what you're able to carry. It's a really important lesson here as well. Now you're going to be surprised because nobody has managed to get this in here. And I'm going to bring it out here. Is the equivocal of domestos, yeah, and the fear of the toilets people have sometimes, and I've seen and I've heard of people carrying, I'm going to take domestos with me, and they carry the domestos to Arafah, to Mina, and to Muzdalifah. And I was like, oh, subhanallah, that's a kilo you're carrying. So really, I mean, there's a lot of emojis with smiling and I think, honestly, I'm not making this up. So please, 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 I really don't think you need to take Domestos or Harpic or anything like that with you. The toilet facilities are not that bad. Toilet covers, fair enough. If you want to take toilet covers, fair enough. But, please, no Domestos to be carried. That's it, okay? And someone says, why is it in my bag? Just to demonstrate it shouldn't be in my bag. So, Haroon, I'm going to hand back. Sorry,
Yeah.
I want to say one other thing.
Yeah.
People have got some really good ideas here. And
Yeah.
please feel free to DM me or put it on the chats that we've got if there's something that you feel is essential that we should have gone through. But I've just shared with you what I think is really useful and what I think you need to pack. And all of those items, a selection of those you can then pack into your Mina bag that you're going to take with you to Mina and so on and so forth. So I will hand back to you, Haroon, please.
Just a couple of things.
For all the engagement, and thank you very much for all the messages that you've been posting.
No, very helpful. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention. So someone mentioned hooks, and I think that was a really good suggestion because in Mina, specifically, what happens is you get some kind of storage space. It depends on which part of Mina you're in. But if you're in Muisim, you get some shelving, but that shelving goes very quickly. So the hooks actually are a very good way of hanging your bags, hanging maybe additional clothing that you need to dry. So these small hooks are very easy to pack. And if you take them with you, they're very helpful. And there's two things that I wanted to mention that are on this slide, which from personal experience, I've found people forget and they need them, right? So, people are very hooked up on sandals and having the right footwear. So when you're outside of Ihram, especially on the days when you're doing the walking towards the Jamarat, it's really important to have a good pair of trainers, especially if you've got issues with your knees or with your feet. And don't be shy to use those trainers. Don't just think because you've wore the sandals during Ihram, you've got to wear them everywhere. The trainers are really important. So I've got a picture of trainers in the top right there. And also, so I remember very distinctly, once you've been in Arafat and you've gone to Muzdalifah, when you spend the night in Muzdalifah, you'll find it's in the open, right? So there's a lot of fumes, there's a lot of traffic and coaches and buses and congestion, right? So you'll often wake up on the morning of the 10th of Dhul Hijjah for Fajr. You'll wake up and your throat will feel a little bit kind of like it's going to go, right? Or your voice might feel like it's going to go. So one morning, this was many years ago, a beautiful brother, as I woke up, he offered me a throat sweet. And you could tell that he was probably a seasoned Haji because he knew what's coming, right? And so I often get these, I've found these Jakemans to be very good, especially this menthol kind of flavor. and it really does save you from having a bad throw on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. So easy to pack in your man bag or your woman bag or your backpack, but it really makes a difference. Something practical, and I really do hope that as a practical kind of session, this has been helpful. And Dr. Imran, mashallah, your experience and your wisdom with what to pack has been very helpful, mashallah. And if there is any questions, then please do.
Haroon, please, sorry for interrupting. Could I just, there was one thing in this man bag which I didn't take out, and
Sure.
it's in there. So I didn't just put it in there now, and I just want to share that with you. One thing that is not in there is carrying your passport with you. Please, I wouldn't carry your passport with you because if you get your passport lost, it's a real problem. But what is in there is money. Please have some money with you at all times. And also, I'm a firm believer in having an emergency financial kit with you. So however you do it, always carry some, maybe if you've got a debit card or something, or a credit card or something, you never know when you might need some money. So I keep that with me there all the time, because you may need to get an emergency taxi from anywhere, and that I carry in this man bag. Sorry, it was the one thing I didn't take out. I was looking at thinking, where's that gone? And it was in there. So apologies, Haroon, for interrupting there again. So that was the last thing I didn't take out.
That's good. So just a couple of questions that have come up. So hooks. So in hooks, I'm referring to very small hooks which can be attached to any metal kind of frame within the Mina tent. So it's small hooks which can be used to hang bags and things. You'll find them in any good DIY shop or even a pound shop. You'll find some basic hooks that can be used. In terms of trainers, so trainers can be worn outside of the state of Ihram. So as long as you're not wearing them during your Ihram for Umrah or for Hajj, you can wear them before or after that. And well, I would advise getting trainers that have got good knee support. Otherwise, I think, is there any other questions? Just going to get I'm just going to read a few of the questions that are coming up now. So, sunglasses. Okay, where do we leave our passports, right? So the best place really to leave your passports. So in most of or all of the hotels, they'll have safes now inside the hotel rooms. So I would keep it somewhere where you're not on the move and you're not going to lose it. So mainly in the hotel and the accommodation, there'll be safes where you can put your passports. And obviously, I would keep copies of your passports with you. That's important. Copies of your key documentation, so that if you're away from your passport, at least you've got something to identify yourself with. And during the days of Hajj, you will receive your Hajj kind of IDs, and those are the things that will allow you to go in and out the actual Mina area. So your IDs are the way in which you'll be identified. So the passports we don't need during the days of Hajj. Just want to check in terms of timing. Ismail, are you there? Just want to check.
I am,
how
yeah.
it's coming up to 9:15, and I'm conscious that coming up to Isha time as well. So is there a few other questions here, so we can stay for maybe a few more minutes to answer some
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely. Yeah, we can go through some questions.
So I know on Monday it was quite helpful to have people speak and hear them. So that might be a good idea to maybe if we unmute some people that have questions. So if we can maybe have.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone's got any questions or comments, just raise your hands. And then Harun, I believe you can unmute them because you're host now.
Great. Okay. So has
So if you
someone.
go to participants and then attendees,
So
it'll
Waqas,
show you who's raising their hands.
so let's see what Waqas has to say. Assalamu alaikum, Waqas. Waqas, can you hear me?
Oh, Gus, you need to unmute yourself if you want to speak.
Okay. You should have an unmute prompt there. So if you just click that prompt. Okay, let's try Jamil.
Yes, alaikum. Just quickly, I've asked a couple of times on the chat, but not had an answer. And I think you tried to explain, pack smart. I'm also hearing, obviously, in the camp we get this beautiful rucksack, and I've seen the videos and the YouTubes that what's in them. You get the umbrella, you get the Vaseline, you get a masala to read, you get all these things. So if we take a rucksack to Mina with all these things in, and then also we get one when we get there, we're gonna have two rucksacks, like Dr. Imran said, right? And then, you know, how certain are you that you know what's going to be in that rucksack? Was that because it was last year's and you don't know what's going to be in this year, or is that why you're saying pack smart because you're not sure?
Imran, do you want to lead with that one, or I can
Okay.
chip in?
There's a couple of things there just to there's items that you need to pack to take with you to Mina, and we'll go through this with you a lot more detail closer to the time. So there's items that will remain with you in Mina, and that you can leave in the Mina camp, because when we go from Mina over to Arafah, and then from Arafah to Muzdalifah, and then to return, we're really talking about a journey of, if we do the logistics and the timing, anything between 36, just about 36 hours. So that's about a day and a half before you'll be able to get back to your items in Mina. So there's items that you can take with you to Mina, and there's items that you will take from Mina on the night of the 8th, going into the 9th, which we will take with us to Arafah. Then we'll stay after Arafah in Muzdalifah, and then we'll return the following morning to Mina. So the actual timing isn't as long as you think it is, where you're not going to have access to your items. So we'll explain this closer to time. So yes, you can take a reasonable size rucksack, but then from that rucksack, decide what you need to take with you to Arafah, and then that will keep you going through to Muzdalifah, and then you'll be returning the following morning to Mina. I hope I haven't overcomplicated this, and I hope that's clear. But as we get closer to the days of Hajj, and when we're there, inshallah, we'll go through it day by day. So I wouldn't get too panicked about it at this moment in time. So take what you think is necessary with you to Mina. Obviously, you have your own personal space. We ask you not to take too much. But from those items, you can then decide what you're going to take with you to Arafah, which will then you'll carry with you to Muzdalifah and then return back to Mina. So that period is not 2-3 days. That period is about 1.5 days. So it's a bag, and then from that bag, you can take a bag, so on and so forth, moving forwards. I hope that's hopefully clarified the question. If not, maybe reach out to me, and I'll try and give a further explanation. But be assured, we'll go through this day by day as we come to days of Hajj. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, inshallah.
Sure. No, yeah, no, I really appreciate that, Dr. Imran. It's because I saw a video from Dr. Mufti Mek showing you the contents of the rucksack in Mina. And alhamdulillah, you know, you don't need to take anything because everything's there in that rucksack for you to Mina. And that's the confusing part.
Yeah, that was last year, and so every year things change, right? So what we try to do is we normally have a site visit, maybe the day before we take the Hujjaj, and then we'll get a briefing of what people will get, and then nearer the time we can give you an update as well. But just to be safe, what we don't want is that we say to you, oh, yeah, everything will be Mina, and like Allah, nothing's there, right? So what we don't want to do is we want to be on the side of caution, right? So we want to make sure that you pack so you're ready and you're prepared. But at the same time, if something comes extra, then alhamdulillah, it's from the qadr and the grace of Allah that you get it, right? So it's just pack the essentials, as Dr. Iman said, and then inshallah we'll play it day by day, inshallah. Just conscious of time. So Sister Asma, Camila, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Assalamu alaikum. I think my question got answered. I just wanted to ask if we can leave stuff in Mina when we leave for Arafat and Muzdalifah, but I think that question just got answered right now.
Okay, excellent. Brother Waqas. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me now?
Yes. How are you?
Brilliant. Sorry, I got my Zoom kicking off because my settings were used. I just wanted to confirm. So just for clarity, the bag that we get from Al Bayt, that's not given in advance, say in London or something. Just wanted to be absolutely clear. That's not.
No, that was in Mina. That's what people receive when they.
Okay, perfect. That's amazing. And just one more question. In previous years, I've seen online that, so obviously men can't wear hats or head coverings during ihram.
That's right.
And then holding the umbrella is obviously it's a task in itself with your arm. I've seen these funky umbrellas it's like a backpack type thing that hangs over your head with an umbrella attached. Do you know where we would be able to buy any of them, or have you
Yeah.
seen them?
So inside in Saudi, there's this massive it's like a Sainsbury's. You could just mute yourself, then it will prevent it. Jazakallah. Okay. So inside Saudi, you've got something called the Bin Dawood, which is like equivalent of Sainsbury's. Yeah. So they have absolutely everything and anything that you could hope for before Hajj. So you'd get it there, inshallah.
Amazing, that's great. Jazakallah.
Okay. Can I have Brother Bilal to unmute himself, please?
Assalamu alaikum. My question is very simple, hopefully. It's the scented versus unscented. I think during the state of Ihram, I think I'm clear that we can't use perfumes, etc. But when it comes to hand soap and especially toothpaste, if there's a slight scent to it, or toothpaste usually have fluoride and that sometimes smells a little bit, is that okay to use in a state of Ihram? And if so, then we'll pack it. If not, then we'll go for the unscented stuff.
Sorry, if you could just mute yourself, please. So in terms of the soap itself, you'll find in Mina, all of the soap there that they provide is unscented. And also within the packs that they give most often than not, you'll get unscented toothpaste. And the unscented toothpaste is also available inside the Bin Dawood and a lot of the shopping centers there. In terms of the toothpaste itself, I think probably, Dr. Imran, did you want to elaborate on that point? The scented toothpaste?
Some of the questions I ask are really fiqh questions, and it's probably better if we redirect them to be asked in the fiqh sessions that or on the Telegram group. However, not to deflect from the question, many things have a scent. What's forbidden is perfume. So medicine has a scent. Domestos has a scent. Like I just, this what I demonstrated. Many things have scents. What's forbidden is perfume. So, we need to ask ourselves, would we use Domestos on, for example, getting ready for our wedding night? Of course we wouldn't use it. It still has a scent. So we're not going to use Domestos or things like that. So I think what's forbidden is perfume, not something that's got a scent to it. And I think Sheikh Hassan will probably address this with a lot more detail. So I think if I just leave it at that, because I don't want to get involved in the fiqh questions, but just remember, scent is not what's forbidden, it's perfume that's forbidden.
Thank you, Doctor.
I think we'll have one more question. I've got Sam, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes, assalamualaikum, brother. I just wanted to ask, do we need to carry any extra ihram with us in the Mina, or will there be any showering facility over there? So just a question, because, over the period of time, you're going to be smelling like something unbearable. So that's a question from my end.
Okay. Haroon, do you want to answer that, or should I go for it?
I'll have a go. I mean, it's all down to personal preference, to be honest with you. So I only carry one ihram with me. If it gets dirty, then there's shower facilities in Mina, so I'll give it a rinse. And generally, the ihram will get dirty, right? So, and it will be dirty and disheveled as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended you to be in that condition, right? So some people do get hung up on, oh, actually, I've got like a stain on there or something. But to be honest with you, it's what it is. It's intended to be used and intended to go through some wear and tear. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can wash it, and in that heat, I've found I've soaked my ihram on occasions, and within a few minutes it's dry. So it's kind of like, mashallah, I'm one of there's two schools of thoughts, not in terms of fiqh, in terms of packing, right? There's the light packing and keeping it simple, and then there's those that pack and they'll have everything with them, and that's just down to personal preference. But from a practical perspective, I think it's best to keep things simple. If, however, the Shuyukh have said this, that you wanted to have one half of an ihram, so not just two ihrams, you'll your ihram clothing and then you have one additional piece of ihram clothing just in case, there's no harm in that either. But it's just whatever you can pack easily, inshallah.
Right. And will there be
Hey,
shaving
yeah.
head facility down there?
I'll take my trolley bag and I'll put your ihram in it in
Oh,
case it gets dirty.
Question: If my ihram gets dirty, then
yeah.
what?
That's what you told us to ask that.
Yeah, you just give it a
Last
rinse.
one.
If it gets dirty, and I've had these occasions as well where it's got dirty, and then you just give it a rinse. Obviously not with soap, but with water, and water is something which cleans, right? So it's and the shiuk will obviously advise you on this as well. If it's a specific type of dirt, then or whatever it is, but the shiuk can advise you. But in most cases, you can rinse the ihram and it will dry, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah, but just one more thing which I need to clarify. Will there be, shaving head facility over there, or do we need to carry anything with us, like clipper or something, to shave our head ourselves?
Dr. Imran, did you want to have a go at that one?
Yeah. I don't think we should rely on within the camp. There's not going to be, it's not, there won't be shaving facilities inside the camp itself, but there are barber shops. There will be a long queue outside. There'll be designated areas. Last year, there were designated areas as soon as we finished the stoning, but there's normally designated areas where you need to go to. In terms of should you carry your own, if you intend to not shave, but to trim your hair and you want to take your own trimmer, take your own trimmer. If you feel comfortable and to carry your own blades and get somebody else to shave your hair, then you can give them your own blades. I've never seen anybody, I can't, in the last 10, 15 odd years, use a reusable blade. Every one of the barbers, the official barbers, use a brand new clean blade for every single person's head that they shave. But if you feel comfortable and you want to carry your own shaving facilities with you, then fair enough. Some brothers do, some brothers don't. I myself do carry a shave. If I know a brother's